You are married with someone else and you are having fun with someone else. This is actually not acceptable.
My family still thinks I have 100K in crypto. I'm too embarrassed to tell them that it all went down the drain.
All the Web3 brands, chains, exchanges, their social profiles are being managed by interns. These interns, they just want to get the attention. What they do not understand is stable coins are going to bring the most utility. Trump wants to make US the capital of crypto.
It's very hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that like a multi-billion dollar company like Robinhood would make a mistake like that.
Welcome to the Money Panda, hosted by Elvis Kolawole.
Hello, you're welcome to this beautiful episode of the Money Panda, and with me today I have a fascinating man from the beautiful mountains of Pakistan. I think I met Adil perhaps 3 years ago. Yeah, it has to be around 3 years ago. Essentially, quite a very volatile time within the crypto space. I think around that time, Luna sort of just exploded, and the NFT craze was picking up steam, and everyone wanted like the priciest NFTs in the market. It's been quite a lot that's happened all the way since then. But yeah, without further ado, I want to introduce you all to Adil Ashfaq, guest for today. Welcome, Adil.
Thank you so much. And great to be here. Always love your energy. Always love the way you connect yourself with strawberries
Yeah,
and everything. It's been some great years since 2022. We had like some worst months in the crypto space, in the blockchain space. All of us thought, okay, it's dead, it's not coming back. But yeah, one thing I have made and I'm proud of is my personal brand on LinkedIn. And because of that, I'm connected with so much beautiful people like you. A lot of beautiful people, professionals working in the space, people putting their 100% into their specific industries, marketing, development, producing smart contracts, working on different sides of blockchain space. So it's fascinating to connect with professionals like you. And again, thank
awesome.
you so much for the
Now,
invitation.
for more context on Adil, Adil is currently the Chief Marketing Officer at Circular Protocol. So Circular Protocol is a DeSci or Decentralized Science project, which is built as the trust layer for healthcare, for pharma, and for critical data. And it is built to enable secure, auditable, and client compliant data infrastructure. Aside from that, of course, he's been a researcher, a strategist, and a content-first marketer since 2019. So he's been here around 6 years. Is that correct?
7 years, around
Ah,
7 years.
okay, nice. Pretty much 7 years. Nice, 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 nice. Perhaps we will actually talk about that a bit later. I'm very sure you have quite a lot of notes from these past 7 years. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy, crazy time. Okay, before we get into that, let's first get into some of the trending things that's been happening within and outside of our space. Let me begin right outside of our space. I guess you must have heard about the Coldplay concert with the astronomer CEO. You heard all about that.
Of course, our industry was like very quick in making memes. Literally thousands of memes on Twitter and a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. And okay, so here's a trend. All the Web3 brands, chains, exchanges, uh, their social profiles are being managed by interns, right? So these interns, they just want to get the attention. So doesn't matter you are the CEO of a billion-dollar company, they don't care. They are going to create memes and they are going to have fun around you, right? But actually, this is not okay at all because even in Web3, Web2, we have multi-billion-dollar brands and having relationships inside the inside the company is not good at all. And when you are married, no, this is not acceptable. You are married with someone else and you are having fun with someone else. This is actually not acceptable. As a ma- uh, as a married guy, I can feel that this is not okay on the professional level and also not good for the society. But okay, it's great for the memes, you know?
Yo, so like there's something like what people missed
Strange.
actually with that thing, which I guess you wouldn't know if you're a DGen. There were like maybe five different high performing tokens on the incident already on Pump Fund, as you might imagine. And lots of guys wanted to like pump their bags off of that. The funny thing is, I personally knew about the thing early. So thinking about it now, I feel like I should have jumped in. I should have aped in early because some people made big bank with that, and people do not actually know like, how many tokens went out. In fact, I was working. I think at that particular time I happened to be working directly on social media and I happened to be scrolling and it was just 1 hour. I think like it was just 1 hour from when the news broke, when the footage was going viral. It was still maybe a few million views, maybe 5 million views.
Yeah.
So I felt like if I was to go into Pump Fun at that time, I could have made some big bucks. But I was too busy on what I was working on.
I personally do not use pump.fun. Yeah. So talking about the token side, I personally do not use pump.fun, but I am a regular user of
Yeah,
Dex Screener, you know. So I opened Dex Screener and the first three or four trending coins were about this. I was like, no, no, no. And this is the thing I do not like about our industry because like we create thousands of tokens every single day using platforms like pump.fun, but in the end they are worthless. After a
yeah,
few days, they are worthless, and this is not okay at all, you know. But we are quick because crypto is 24/7. Crypto never stops. That's why people keep on minting tokens, and maybe there are already some NFTs on
yeah.
Astronomer CEO, you know.
I'm very sure there are. I'm very sure there are. There's probably some DJs like that's yeah,
Strange
yeah. It's
times,
it's
honestly,
very
strange
weird. It's
times.
very weird. And anyways, here's the thing I actually want to ask you, like as a marketing pro, especially as a CMO, how do you spin this? How do you spin this if it's your company?
If it was
Yeah,
my company, not sure, honestly, because okay, so industries are different. Web 2 industry is different. Web 3 industry is different. So if it happened in Web 3 space, uh, I think it wouldn't make a big difference
yeah,
because still a lot of Web 3 brands are not compliant. They are not regulated. They are working from Cayman Islands. They are working from Bahamas. They are not operated from highly regulated,
yeah,
you can say, locations. You know, but it's Web 2. It's the traditional space, and whether we like it or not, but these spaces are highly regulated. And already, I think like he's replaced with another co-founder and CPO. And I think, okay, he's going to have the stake in the company, of course. But like this was a very, let's say, expensive concert of his life, you know, and, and he's never going to do something like this again. And again, one thing I want to point out here: this is highly unethical, especially
yeah,
when you are married, you know. But when you are not married and let's say your colleagues are not married, okay, then you guys can have fun. Of course, we all are human and we like to have like lovely people on our side. So yeah, no more comments on that.
yeah, yeah. I feel you. I feel you. I think like the way they sort of handled it is the best. They pretty much brought no statements, nothing. They allowed the thing to run wild, until I think later today when the board had him resign. So I think, and he's quietly resigned, no statements, nothing. It's just yeah, it's just a mess. But although the little thing they actually did remark was that like a lot of people now know the company, like there are lots of new leads.
It's a marketing stunt for them, you know. Honestly, it worked as a marketing stunt. Like I had
Yeah,
no idea about this company. Honestly,
yeah,
I had no idea about this company. Now, now all the Twitter knows, like, what's astronomers, you know? But yeah, like on the marketing side, it's great. On the ethical side,
Yeah,
it's too bad. And again, two families are
yeah,
involved, you know, and that's why it's very,
yeah.
very bad.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah, okay. Away from Mr. Byron and astronomer, because the only astronomer I want to be is a person going to space. So, yeah, away from those people. Yeah, let's talk about the recently passed Genius Act in the United States. I'm sure you probably heard about it. But for anyone in the audience who is yet to hear about it, it was, would I say, one of the most important pieces of legislation recently, or crypto-based legislation. It was mostly pushed by President Trump and his crypto czar. Um, yeah, so I think like it's one of his campaign pledges, and this particular act was focused on stable coins. So the actual purpose of this act was to create a regulatory framework for stable coins, and to try and ensure some consumer protection, financial stability. Um, so I think it had some exclusions. For example, stable coins were not classified as securities under law, which is very important, which is something that the industry has been looking to make sure of, to make sure stable coins are not exactly treated like other financial securities. And some expert estimates say that it could actually grow the stable coin market you know, from where it is right now to up to $3 trillion by 2030. And it's going to enable banks, fintechs, or retailers to enable stablecoins much, much more easily. And it's going to be very, very favorable to American fintechs, banks, retailers who want to issue stablecoins. So, what do you think about this milestone act from the U.S.?
So I personally think this is the biggest success after Bitcoin ETFs,
Hmm.
right? Some people think, okay, these are stable coin, but what they do not understand is that stable coins are going to bring the most utility,
Yes.
the most liquidity in this space. And it has been doing it already for years. Okay, what Elvis is doing. Elvis is buying USDT or USDC before doing any trades, before investing into Bitcoin. When Elvis is, let's say, using his bank account or P2P ways of buying crypto, he's buying stable coins. So in the US, because Trump wants to make US the capital of crypto, and I personally think Genius Act is going to do that, exactly that. So honestly, like his clear words, if we don't do it, China is going to do it, right? So it's them or China, right? So these are the two big players in the world who can inject trillions into a new industry. So crypto, blockchain, these two industries, still they are relatively new as compared to other industries. Petroleum, coal, finance, banking, these are all then established industries. Blockchain, crypto, they are new industries. So literally this act is going to change everything for, let's say, crypto brands, blockchain brands in the US, and mainly stablecoin issuers. So how many stablecoin issuers we have right now? Let's say five big of them, like big ones, only five. Honestly, me and Elvis, both of us, we are going to see at least $10 trillion market cap for stablecoins in the coming years. Let's say 10 years and that's it. Because this act is going to allow banks to do it. This act is going to allow the big institutions like BlackRock, etc., etc., to like issue stable coins. They want to do it. They want to do it because there's a lot of money, there is a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of new verticals of tokenization of RWAs, tokenization of equities, tokenization of commodities, etc., etc. And Solana is already doing tokenization of stocks, you know. So I personally think from 250 billion to 300 billion, we are jumping towards $3 trillion in, let's say, 4 to 5 years. And we are jumping towards $10 trillion in the next 10 years for sure. Because stable coins are not just great for bringing liquidity into the crypto space, they are great for bringing liquidity to make real world assets tokenized. Not just real world assets, gold, silver, commodities, trillions of dollars worth of stocks. Still, in a lot of countries, when you buy a stock, uh, you get it after 2 days, properly in the papers of State Bank. So it's the day plus two, right? So blockchain changes everything. So instant payments, instant reimbursements, everything is going to happen on chain. So, okay, so one thing I want to mention here, I personally would love to see more decentralized stable coins. Stable coins are not decentralized,
Mm,
but in the past
mm,
we have seen like USDC, it was decentralized, but like it got crashed. USDC, a product from Luna, you know. So, but I personally would love to see more decentralized stable coins. Maybe they're not going to work, but still, we are also good with Circle. We are also good with Tether. I'm not sure about Trump's stable coins, World Liberty Finance. I've never deal with that, and like not sure if I'm going to play with that ever. But I personally think Tether, Circle, they are going to turn into trillion-dollar companies. And by these stable coins, we are going to see huge liquidity coming into main coins. DeFi narrative, also DeSci narrative, RWAs like Ondu Finance, Solana, Ethereum, also Circular Protocol as a DeSci product, Origin Trail, also Bio Protocol, because when we okay, so with Bitcoin ETFs, they regulated Bitcoin. Now with Genius Act, they
mm.
didn't just regulate stable coins. They are kind of on the way to regulate all the crypto industry. Because what's the way to buy cryptos? What's the way to invest in cryptos? What's the way to trade in cryptos? What are the pairs on
Yeah.
exchanges, centralized exchanges, on decentralized exchanges? The pairs are always with USDT, USDC, with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, right? So I think these are the
Mhm.
golden times, honestly, the golden times for our space. And we are lucky to be here, Elvis. And it's time for me and you to turn into millionaires, you know? Let's prepare ourselves.
It's a beautiful time, actually. I mean, I think I think generally I could say like there are ethical concerns. But for me, I've always been very ideologically driven, guy, and I have all sorts of thoughts about like this and but yeah, I think you actually are right in the fact that we probably need a decentralized stablecoin. I was thinking about it in my head, and I'm not quite sure the way a decentralized stablecoin would work. I can't quite like figure it out like how it will work, but I think like that's a great idea. And actually, just to follow up on that, say a person wanted to capture the most value, maybe capture the upside of stablecoin companies rushing into the market. I'm just thinking, what's the best way to do so? In my mind, the first thing that's coming to mind is Circle. You know, Circle has an IPO. Sorry, Circle had its IPO.
Yeah.
It's now currently a publicly listed company. So knowing that they're going to make some money, you might as well try to ape into their
Circle is
stock.
publicly listed. Elvis, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Circle is publicly listed.
Yes, yes, it is. It is. So yeah, so I was saying basically, I mean, if I wanted to maybe make some money, I could think maybe owning some Circle stock. That's just one way to try to capture value. But I'm just thinking, is there any other way you can think about to capture some value from this momentum that's almost inevitable for stablecoins?
So, yeah, it depends on where you are. If you are a student, if you are an investor, if you are a billionaire. So, billionaires are going to start their companies, stablecoin issuing companies, right? So, not
Yeah.
Tether, Circle, there are going to be dozens of new companies in the coming months. like literally dozens of new
Yeah.
companies, dozens of new stablecoin issuers, If you are an investor, what you are going to do is to find out that where this money, this liquidity is going to flow. And the big winner is going to be RWAs. Tokenization of
Mm,
RWAs, tokenization of stocks, tokenization of commodities, tokenization of gold. So you don't invest in
mm,
stablecoins, you invest in the major players dealing at that side, right? So let's say on
yeah.
finance, etc., etc. So the major players in RWAs, the major players in like tokenization of stocks, tokenization of commodities, and for the students, for youngsters who have, let's say, $300, $3,000, $15,000 in cryptos, what they can do, they can absolutely take their bet at the biggest crypto coins, the most famous ones.
Mm,
Because when
mm,
these all generations, like older people, are going to have the access to buy stable coins right from their bank easily, right? Because now banks are also going to become a stablecoin issuers, big banks,
yeah.
Citibank, Bank of America, etc., etc. So these people are going to jump
Yeah.
into cryptos. So the big players are going to win. Let's say the top 50 to top 100 profiles, top 50 to top 100 projects on CMC. And honestly, if this industry is going to $10 trillion, it's we are already standing around $4 trillion, and we are going to $10 trillion soon. Like, it's not going to take decades, it's going to take only a few years. So $10 trillion means we are going to see 10x, 15x in in a lot of altcoin projects, like all chains.
Yeah.
And of course, we are going to see double or triple in Bitcoin, you know. And right now,
Mm,
like after Bitcoin ETFs, Bitcoin became more stable. After Genius Act, I think the overall industry, the big projects, are going to become more stable because more liquidity is coming, more stable investors, long-term investors are coming. That's why I personally think we are, like, people actually like taunted us for years that this industry is all about pumps and dumps. Not anymore. Honestly, not anymore. Of course, the small projects are going to do
yeah.
their
Yeah.
usual pumps and dumps, but the bigger projects,
Yeah.
they are going to be very much stable as compared to what we had in 2017 and 2019 and even 2022. We are never going to see Bitcoin on 16,000 again, unless like a world war, nuclear war happens. And still, even in a nuclear war, people are going to buy
If
Bitcoin,
that happens, it's
So
going to 1
these
million.
honestly, because we have seen the Pakistan-India conflict, we have seen the Israel-Iran conflict. People were actually buying Bitcoin. They literally thought that this is the next gold standard. So they were actually buying Bitcoin. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure that any kind of war is going to like leave a bad impact on Bitcoin. I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. It probably wouldn't. It might actually be the opposite, like a really good effect. Yeah.
Crazy times, honestly,
Wow.
crazy times.
What a time we are. Yeah. What a fucking time. And actually, speaking of bags, okay, let me touch on two things before we get to the next segment. So there is this thing, of course, this new movement of taking equities like traditional equities like stocks, gold, and everything on chain, tokenizing everything. But I'm very sure you must have heard about like the recent controversy with Robinhood and the private its private equities. Yeah, so there's that, but at least I think currently there is already like some great movement. I think the likes of Coinbase started to have stocks tradable on chain. Many other Solana projects are already looking to get plenty of
Yeah.
equities on chain. But then these guys, the Robin Hoods of the world, they got they got slammed by the likes of SpaceX and OpenAI for claiming that they have tokenized shares of of OpenAI and SpaceX on their platform, which happened to not be the case, or at least maybe seems to be misrepresented in some way. So what do you think about actors like this? And do you think like this might hurt the private, um, the private industry, or at least the industry of startups or platforms that want to sell private shares like this?
No, this is going to happen. So all the big stocks, all the major stock markets in the world, they are going to get tokenized in the coming years.
Yeah.
And I have been a stock investor for several years. I was trading
Mm,
in Pakistani stock market. I was trading in UAE stock market. I was trading the US stock market. And what's the main difference between trading stocks and trading cryptos? The main difference is it's 9 to 4 or 9 to 5. That the trading of
mm,
stocks. After that, you cannot trade. You are going to wait for the next day. And on weekends, it's absolutely closed, you know? And it's a big, big barrier. And honestly, it's a big, big barrier. And I think this is going to happen whether or not Robinhood do it the right way or not. But Robinhood is a billion-dollar brand. And I'm personally was not like I was personally not expecting this kind of stupid act or something. It was not a marketing stunt
yeah,
because it backfired.
yeah,
And
yeah.
what I think happened because like I have been working with these like major uh, Web3 brands, corporate brands for like several years, and I personally think they were in talks with these companies and they thought it's going to happen, and they announced it without the MOU. They announced it without the contract or something, without any memorandum of understanding. And when they announced it,
But it's so
the companies
weird,
got
man.
pissed off. You know, they
It's
got
so
pissed off and they were
weird.
like, no, like you cannot announce it like that. Even when these billion-dollar companies announce a PR, like a partnership, like they do it properly after the consent, after signing and everything. I personally don't think like Robinhood, like the CEO, woke up one day and he thinks, okay, let's piss off these companies. No, they were in talks with these companies. This is my perspective.
Mm,
They were in talks with these companies and they announced it without even having an MOU or contract, and this pissed the other companies off. Is This is that simple, according to me. But of course, the reality could be different.
mm, yeah, yeah. I think I don't know. I also think the same, but then I don't know because I feel at the same time, even though that is the case, it's very it's very hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that like a multi-billion dollar company like Robinhood would make a mistake like that. I don't know. Like it feels
But
weird. I feel
Elvis,
what
one
if it's
thing,
possible?
yeah, one thing we can never like forget, even billion-dollar companies are being operated by people, and people do make
Yeah.
mistakes. It's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like it feels like a very weird type of mistake, and here they are, like getting clowned by the CEOs of both companies, and I don't know exactly how they get back from that. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I think the very last thing or the very last things we want to talk about is regards trending issues would be Trump's World Liberty
Let's
Fine,
do it.
or more specifically, or more specifically, some of the stuff they've been doing. The first thing is, of course, some of their portfolio holdings, some of their, I think, all-time portfolio holdings, and they happen to have 95% of that in ETH. Would you fucking believe this shit? Like Ethereum. I, with all due respect to Ethereum, I'm just like, really, Ethereum, really, Ethereum, and this is like a company that is projected to attract maybe a few more hundreds of billions in capital inflows from foreign foreign countries, from all sorts of actors that are probably trying to appease the president, and eventually a lot of these funds will end up in Ethereum. Really? Like, what do you think about that? Do you think it is bullish for ETH, or what do you think?
Uh, yeah, so I personally think, this is a fact that like any investment firm uh, is looking for gains. They do not care what Adil thinks about Ethereum. They do not care what Elvis thinks about Ethereum. They are looking for the upside, right? And I personally think like Bitcoin is standing at $120,000 and Ethereum is still, let's say, $1,000 away from its all-time high. The all-time high back in like 2021, that was 4,700, 4,800, right? So they are looking at the multiple. They are looking at the yield, what kind of yield they are going to get in 1 year or 2 year or 3 year. And I personally think like they are going to earn at least 200 and 300% on Ethereum. So for these companies, they do not play with emotions. They play with strategy. They think about the
Yeah,
yield, what they are going to get in the coming years. And honestly, one thing more, because this company is connected with Trump's family, so they do know what kind of legislations they are going to get like push in the coming years. You know, say they do know what kind of lawmaking and policies are going to happen in the future in the US, especially for altcoin space, etc., etc. So they are bullish on Ethereum. Maybe there are some insiders, but even if they are not connected with like Ethereum Foundation, etc., etc., there is a big upside for Ethereum right now, at least 200% or maybe 250%, and they are going to like cash that. It's that simple. Uh, just like BlackRock cashed Bitcoin, they started buying around, let's say, 45,000, and they are still buying. So let's say that if their average price is $80,000, so they are up 50%, right? So these projects,
mhm,
like these big investment firms, they are looking for the return they are going to get because
yeah,
they are not blockchain developers. They are not like Web3 marketers. They are not playing with emotions. If you ask me what's my favorite blockchain, of course that's not Ethereum. But in terms of
mhm,
investment for them, of course Ethereum is still a great choice. And I won't be surprised if they'll start investing into Solana, Sui, Ondu Finance in these
yeah,
chains in the future, in the coming months.
yeah. I am pretty sure they'll get into that. Like, they probably will track some of the bigger ones. I feel, yeah, just like you said, it's more of a data thing, more about looking at how much liquidity, how much historical action has been on the chain, shit like that, and how strong the ecosystem actually is with the L2s and whatever. So, I think it's really just that, like, not not like they have a bunch of people nerding out on crypto Twitter and seeing the sentiment behind these companies, and I think that's also why their stablecoin has been so successful very recently. I think it's one of the. I think even right now, that's stablecoin is one of the top 10. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
that's the
I think
yeah,
one of the
it's in the
top
top.
six. One of the top six, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, even one of the top six. Yeah, so it's very very good work from them. So, anyways, away from that, I like to talk about you. I like to talk about you. I mean, you were just telling the audience you started up 7 years ago. So, could you give us a summary of what it was like, how you first got into the space, and what you've been doing during these highs and lows, in the last 7 years?
Yeah, so a lot of good stories, a lot of regrets. Uh, so I am a software engineer.
Of
Just for
course.
the record, I am a software engineer and I graduated in 2019.
Wow.
And because
Wow.
I was coding, so this thing hits the market, smart contracts. I was like, okay, what's this? So when I had a proper look at these, like I was having chat with my friends and like my fellows. So smart contracts felt like the next big thing, and they are. Now they are already big. So I started learning more about cryptos and about Ethereum. My first investment was Ethereum, not Bitcoin. So I started reading more about smart contracts and everything. So when I graduated, the same year I started working as a writer for Sandbox. So it was a great experience, honestly,
Uh,
and I learned a lot about the space. But Sandbox was not my first company as a writer, but it was my first company in Web3. So starting from there, I worked with Axie Infinity, uh, and it was also a great experience. And still, Axie Infinity has like 100,000, maybe
huge
200,000
company
daily
as it
players,
stands.
you know? Yeah, still. So after that, one of the main product of smart contracts, NFTs were everywhere in later 2020s. And these NFTs were like making people millionaires. So I was like, okay, let's explore this. So I started working as a content strategist for one NFT project. And in a time span of like 2 years, I worked with at least five different NFT projects, help them with their launch, help them with all of their content strategy, social media, etc., etc. So I was managing a team basically, and that was a very good time for earning money, honestly. But sadly, that's also a big regret because most of these PFPs are worth nothing, right? Most of these PFPs do not have any utility after 2 years, right? So this is a big regret for a person like me, honestly, because I was always thinking that, okay, what they are going to do with these PFPs. But all of the founders has big plans. Okay, there's a metaverse. We are going to launch the 3D version. We are going to shop in the metaverse. We are going to buy land in the metaverse. So these PFPs are going to like offer big utility in the future. But like honestly, BS, all BS. That didn't work out because the UI, the user experience, the user interface was bad. And still, in 2025, it's been like 4 years, and these projects do not have any, like, they are not offering any kind of utility. That's why these projects are almost dead. The projects that are still alive are projects like Pudgy Penguins, the projects like Bored Apes, the projects like CryptoPunks. So CryptoPunk is more like legacy. The most utility is being brought by, Pudgy Penguins, and their token is literally exploding. So yeah, the regrets are there. After that, I jumped into RWA Narrative in 2022, and I worked with Lumishare. So
Okay.
Lumishare is like it's a project deployed on Binance Smart Chain, and they are focusing on tokenization of different RWAs like solar farms, windmills, like oil companies, and etc. etc. So that was a great experience. After that, like I like after the NFT like PFP mishap, I was literally asking myself every single day, okay, Adil, if you are working, okay, you are earning money, etc. etc. But what you are contributing? Are you actually contributing to the space? Because Satoshi and his friends
Mm.
and the developers at Ethereum, the developers at Solana, they are like the marketers and like all the legit people. They are actually contributing to something. So I was like, okay, what's working? DeFi is working. What are the cool narratives? What narratives are producing real utility? RWA is the other narrative, like producing a lot of utility. But I started reading about DeSci, and I got in contact with the founder of Circular Protocol, Gianluca Di Novi. And DeSci literally
Mm.
took me by surprise. And I was like, okay, what's the main purpose of blockchains? Where should we be using blockchains? For certification, for data verifiability, for auditability, because like every transaction is on chain. We can read it. Nobody can tamper with that. So how we can elevate human well-being through blockchains, and that's of course through DeSci, applying blockchains into healthcare systems, applying blockchain systems into clinical trials, applying blockchains into literally how medicines are being produced, how medicines are being shipped, applying blockchains into hospitals where hospitals and doctors cannot tamper your medical records. cannot play with your health,
Mm.
because blockchains actually make data and processes very, tamper proof and secure. So it's been more than like 18 to 19 months. I'm working with Circular, and DeSci was a total new narrative for me, like late in 2023. But now I have grown into this narrative.
Okay.
I have helped Circular as a CMO, uh, from a startup to a very established brand and in the DeSci space. Actually, Circular is the only compliant layer one in the space, only compliant layer one, and Circular is already working with several hospitals, 8,000 pharmacies, two or three different governments globally, and Circular is right now producing
Wow.
systems for governments, and governments are going to use those systems for, let's say, better data processing, data certification on chain, data verifiability on chain, and as an ecosystem, we have already like launched two different products for data certification. So DeFi is great. DeFi is
Oh.
already a $1 trillion brand. RW is great. But there should be one narrative, one industry where blockchain should be elevating overall human well-being, overall human healthcare, right? Because if blockchain can make data and processes transparent, why, like, who's stopping us from implementing blockchains into healthcare? What we have seen in COVID, like massive mismanagement,
Mm.
massive false narratives, like massive, like literally these billion-dollar medicine brands, pharmaceuticals, they lied to the people. And we are not sure what kind of clinical trials they ran. We have no records of that because everything is very centralized. Everything is very centralized in
Mm.
pharmaceuticals, etc., etc. It's very heartbreaking to say, and it's very sad, but a lot of pharmaceutical companies have been playing with people's health, right? But it's good that we have blockchain technology now.
Just
Yeah,
ask
it's good
Luigi.
that we have blockchain technology and we can implement, we can push these healthcare institutes to adopt blockchains because it's not good for individuals, it's also good for pharmaceuticals. Because if someone is blaming a pharmaceutical company and if they are using blockchain, they are they can simply show their processes because everything is on chain, everything is tamper proof. They are like, okay, this is how we produce this medicine, this is how we process that person's medical records. So blockchains are actually, like, blockchains have literally the potential to make most of the processes in this world tamper proof, and I am very happy that we are actually doing that. Not just DeSci, even with DeFi, we are making transactions transparent. If I am sending, let's say, $100 to Elvis on Binance Smart Chain, on Circular Protocol, on SUI, on Solana, etc. So the record is going to be there for years and years. Literally, I can just search
Mm.
for the transaction ID, transaction hash on the protocol, and I'm going to see the details and everything. No one can play with that, right? So that's the beauty of blockchain space. And I'm very happy that I'm literally working in this space and very happy that I'm connected with a lot of beautiful doers like you.
Nice. Thank you. I mean, that's like that's really a serious place. And you did say something. Yeah, the pharmaceuticals, that industry, like I just said, remember the reason why Luigi went after the CEO of United Health? That says it all, I guess.
Yeah,
Like the way people really feel about that industry. And I was happy to hear the fact that you already have some footing on the ground with some governments, some jurisdictions here and there. I think that's really important because I personally didn't know how far you guys have actually gone as regards adoption in real life. Something I wanted to know is maybe if you can elaborate a bit more, could you share maybe a bit more details on some of the projects that are within your ecosystem, how they are helping push this goal forward? You said there are two, right? Or a few.
Yeah, no. So these two are the main products from Circular Protocol, but we have a lot
Oh,
of
okay.
partners in our ecosystem, more than 30 partners. So these partners are working. Okay, let's start with medical records. These partners are
Okay.
working like certifying the medical records for individuals, right? So nobody can
Okay.
play with your medical record because medical record is certified on chain. One other company, they are literally like it's very fascinating, but they are putting the protein models on chain, the extraction of protein models. And I learned about it, and
Mm-hmm.
it was very fascinating for me. Another project is literally helping different pharmaceutical companies to go on chain. Another project is called Metaflora. It's a very good project, and the founder is very energetic. They are literally putting the processes of cannabis from the crop to the medicine. So from the crop, all the extraction and how cannabis is being used into medicine, everything on chain. And it's extremely beautiful because cannabis
Nice.
is, yeah, it's very, very like it impacts human lives positively if we use it nicely, if we use it in the right way. So another project is using, yeah, simply. So there are a lot of a lot of different
Yeah.
projects are working on different crops, single crops, because crops are being used in
Mm-hmm.
medicines. So like
Mm-hmm.
doing like certifying the data and also the processes on blockchain make sure that the crop is reaching the the pharmaceutical companies and from the pharmaceutical companies to the people in its pure form. And the great thing about circular is that actually I'm also very proud of that we are certifying the processes that okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
say this, this cannabis product is coming from this field and the process is certified and now it's sitting and being processed in this pharmaceutical company, etc., etc. So honestly, it's technical because blockchains are technical and people do not want to learn about it and they don't have to. People should not be caring about how Web3 work. They don't care how blockchain work because they don't have to. Just like we don't care how the backend of Twitter work, how the backend of Facebook and Instagram work.
India or Pakistan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your bias first?
This is a tricky question because I am born and raised in Pakistan and we have this big rivalry, but both countries are great countries, great people working in different industries. But there's a lot of room for improvement from the government side and also from businesses and individual sides. But of course, I'm going to pick Pakistan because I love it. I love the mountains. I love the food. I love the culture. I love my friends and family. They'll all of them live here in Pakistan. But Indian culture, the food is amazing and everything. Uh, I do not want to like say anything bad about any country because any country can like have its own pros and cons.
Of course.
Yeah, but the rivalry
Mm-hmm.
can be like because of a lot of different factors, just like we have rivalry between Russia and America for decades. So it's all good, but I'm going to pick Pakistan.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. Fully understand. Okay, the next one, stable coins or CBDCs. And before you answer this, I need you to understand currently our stable coin landscape is one which is utterly dominated by private companies. It's dominated by Tether, dominated by Circle, now World Liberty, by all sorts of private entities who you do not know their intentions or whatever. People who can restrict your access to your tokens at any time. That's one side. That's stable coins. The other side is CBDCs that are going to be minted by governments. They will be controlled by central banks. So think of them like two evils. One side controlled by private interests, the other contained by, sorry, controlled by government-based interests. So stablecoins or CBDCs.
So I'm going to pick the less evil, right? So of course I'm going to pick stable coins. Yeah, of course, because between two evils, I'm going to pick the good one, you know. So the thing is, CBDCs is
Yeah,
is a bad concept, honestly. I literally hate it uh, because
yeah,
it's all about control. It's all about limiting your spending. It's all about taxing everything. It's all about having a look at whatever you are doing, putting taxes on whatever you are doing, limiting if you are not complying with basic rules in one nation, limiting your access to your funds, etc., etc. And that's, of course, against the ethos of Web3, against the ethos of blockchains. So I literally hate that concept. And hopefully, in the countries I'm working from, from the UAE, from Pakistan, hopefully we are never going to see CBDCs, and hopefully I won't have to deal with any of them, and like in my life.
yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. I feel you. I think I'll choose that as well. Even though you get the sense that some stable coins will end up being, or at least the companies that issue stable coins will end up being controlled by some government-based entities. But yeah, yeah, I fully am on board with that. Okay, um, another one, Solana or ETH,
It's a great
Ethereum.
question.
Which is your
It's a
pick?
great question. Okay, so if we talk about DeFi, right? If we talk about DeFi, because we have different blockchains working in different spaces, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if we talk about DeFi, I think the comparison should be between Ethereum versus Solana versus Sui, right? So great ecosystem. Ethereum has great
Mm,
ecosystem, etc., etc. But Ethereum has its own limitations, you know. So 2 years ago, my answer would be Solana.
mm,
Today, my answer is Sui.
hmm. Interesting. That's a really huge endorsement. Okay, I don't know. Okay, go on. I mean, do you have any other comment or
Yeah, because we are not now talking about DeFi, right? Uh, Bitcoin
okay?
is another league. DeSci is another league. So if we are just talking about DeFi, we want to talk about how scalable these blockchains are. We want to see how
Mm,
what is the potential, what kind of products are being built on these blockchains, what kind of like transaction
mm,
finality time they offer, what kind of gas fee they offer, right? So Ethereum is totally out of the game when it comes to
mm,
gas fee and finality time, right? So there are two contenders right now, two
mm,
big players in the world right now in the blockchain space. When we focus on DeFi, so it's Solana versus
mm,
Sui. And I personally think the products that are being built on Sui, the DeFi products, financial products, and everything, are way better. The experience as compared to Solana is way better. Right now, like people might say, okay, Solana has a big market cap,
mm,
etc., etc. But I personally think in the DeFi sector, Sui is going to, um, let's say, dominate. It's of course not a financial advice. Everyone should do their own research before like investing. But as a product protocol, as a DeFi protocol, I personally think Sui is way better as compared to Solana at the moment.
nice. Okay, okay. Okay, so, um, okay, the next one, I would want you to choose, would you rather hang out with Bitcoin maxis or Ripple maxis or XRP maxis? I think they're both annoying, but which would you
Okay, so
rather be?
both are retards. Both are retards, honestly. But But Bitcoin mexes are good because they are highly disciplined and they sometimes, like most of the time, they
Mm.
search they search the real world data and do the decision making accordingly. But XRP mexes, they never do the research. They are literally saying XRP is going towards $10,000 per coin, $50,000 per coin. So they are absolutely clueless. So I'm going to hang out with Bitcoin maxis for sure.
Yeah, okay. And the last one, would you rather trade on a DEX or a SEX or a centralized exchange?
All right. So um, honestly, like I'm not gonna lie here. It's been a few months that I have used any decentralized
Hmm.
exchange. But what I'm using are wallets.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm using like decentralized wallets. So these
Hmm.
wallets are great for swaps. Phantom Wallet, Slush Wallet by S2E, even
Uh,
MetaMask, even Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet and
yeah.
MetaMask are like they offer bad experience as compared to Phantom and Slush. But I personally think uh, like as DEXs we need to improve, uh, and centralized exchanges are good when you are only playing with the top five because they are highly, let's say, recognized. And it's been years that we have seen any scams with those, but not your keys, not your crypto. So I would say if you're a trader and if you are like a short-term investor, you should be using decentralized wallets. And to do the swaps, you can use wallets, but if you want to do multi-chain swaps, uh, like two or three of my favorite swappers are of course Jupiter, Uniswap is great, PancakeSwap is great, but it's been like a few months that I've been using these swaps because like I'm like some most of the times I'm also doing multi-chain swaps on wallets, but multi-chain swaps are way cheaper when we use swappers like PancakeSwap, Jupiter, and also Uniswap.
Okay, okay. I think you agree. And another thing, I think the a lot of the activity, wallet-driven activity, are actually usually powered by some dexes. I think, for example, Phantom tends to use radium spools, if I'm not mistaken.
That that's
Yeah, I
right.
think
That's
some
right.
some sort of version of that. So yeah, I think I just really yeah, so I generally sort of agree with doing that. I think personally, yeah, I think if I'm trying to degen my way out of shit, or if I'm trying to ape in 100% dexes, generally I would say dexes. I would only use sexes to try and off ramp. I tend to use sex to off ramp or maybe to do leverage trades, like very high leverage trades, or if I'm trying to copy trade or shit like that. So yeah, I think that's
But
where
they,
I tend to
yeah,
use
Elvis, one thing
centralized
here,
exchanges.
centralized exchange
Yeah,
play a big role, for the newcomers. Like the
yes,
UI
yes,
is
they do,
very
they do,
simple, the
they do.
experience is great.
Yes,
Because the newcomers do not have a freaking idea how to set up
yeah,
their wallets, etc., etc., how to do cross-chain swaps, how to do the swaps. So these exchanges are great. And I personally think
yeah,
most of the traders, still today, most of the traders do use sexes, and I like the volumes are very clear. We can
yeah,
have a look at coin market cap. So the most of the people are still using centralized
yes.
exchanges.
Yes, 100%, no doubt. Like it's not even close. I think it's just like the more hardcore you get into this, like you start to prefer you start to prefer decentralized exchanges. But by far, yes, that's they drive volume and they are very important for the space. Despite all of the bullshit they do, not even going to get into that. But they are very important, and they're a key pillar of this space. Okay, so let's go on to the very last section because we're way over time. Okay, let's get into the very last section, filled with some very interesting stories and coin fashions. So these coin fashions, as you might have noticed, they are anonymous messages from people within the space or people who interact with crypto. Usually some ridiculous ass stories in here. Sometimes some stories I feel are complete bullshit. Engagement farming. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff in here. I love going in here in my leisure time and just seeing crazy stories. Okay, so let's go over a few of them, shall we?
Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
Um, yeah, so the first one is this guy who said he's 16 years old. According to him, and I quote, I am 16 years old and I'm up around 270K trading meme coins. I haven't spent any of it yet and I don't know what to do with it. Any advice? So, what would you advise this kid?
Okay, so I'm I'm a
16.
CMO of a blockchain brand, you know. So I have been connecting with a lot of agencies, a lot of market makers, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
traders, a lot of investors, a lot of people who actually create and pump these meme coins, you know. Okay, so 95% of these kind of
Mm-hmm.
tweets are simply BS. They are lying and they are
Mm-hmm.
just like trying to get some attention. But again, honestly, meme coin space is crazy, and the insiders, if you have insiders on a meme coin, you can actually make $2 million from $100. And this happens, and I have seen teenagers, in Miami, teenagers in Dubai, teenagers in Singapore, who sit and have a chat with these meme coin shillers and traders. They do make millions of dollars from meme coins because they are the ones who created the meme coins. They have the total supply and they pump the narrative. And I think this is absolutely unethical, but this is what these people do. And sometimes these teenagers are lucky enough to be in their group or to be in their chats or to invest $1,000 on the right time, and that's how they earn like 200x or 300x, you know?
Nice, nice, nice. Okay. I I would I would say, I mean, like to such a kid, man, just go live your life. Enjoy life as a kid. I would say maybe take a good amount of time, maybe just blow a little bit of money
I would
just to
say,
get that out of your system.
yeah,
But then like actually just try to live, you know.
yeah. My advice to this kid is buy two Bitcoins and have fun with all of the money left. 30, $40,000. Have fun with it because you are in your teenage. These are the most beautiful years of your life. Have fun with your
Yeah,
friends, have fun with your family. But invest in two Bitcoins, buy a hardware wallet, Ledger or Trezor, and forget about them. And you are going to sell these Bitcoins for at least $1 million per Bitcoin when you are in your 40s.
yeah. I would hope he does well if he's real and if he's not a bullshitter. Yeah. Okay. Another interesting story in here, a person with a 100K inheritance. This person says, and I quote, I inherited 100K from my mom's death, and I'm left with 5K after this bull run. My family still thinks I have 100K in crypto. I'm too embarrassed to tell them that it all went down the drain. Whew, damn. So,
This is so sad. If this is
you
real,
know,
this is so sad.
You know, this sounds more realistic, which is funny. Like there's so many people who have given money to the market. Like people usually forget that it's a lot of people are giving money to the market. That's where the, the millions are coming from, you know.
Yeah, so my
Um,
advice to this guy,
yeah, and there are a lot of
yeah, my advice to this guy, invest that $5,000 into new narratives, quality project in RWAs or quality project into DeSci. And hopefully in 18 months or 2 years, you are going to make 20x the original amount, 100K, and you can give it back to your family.
Yeah, I hope he keeps his head strong because that's a really tough one. Okay, so let's go to just two more. Um, this unhinged guy says, "I'm going bankrupt at the end of the year. I'm 500K in debt. I've stopped paying all minimum payments and I shut my business down. The only income I have coming is when I sell some crypto to my bank account. I'm going to I'm going to let the creditors sue me and then I'll respond with filing Big B. That's bankruptcy. I've already booked He said I've already booked and paid for vacations to the Dominican Republic, and my
Nice.
plan now is to burn all of my crypto until it runs out. A 9-month bankruptcy would put me into the fall of 2025 as we enter a bear market. Sorry, I think this was an old one. It'll put me into the fall of 2025. At that time, I'll begin DCAing into crypto again and aggressively trading to make it all back. They won't get a damn penny. So this is a person basically was planning to go bankrupt by the end of 2024 and basically planning to get to the Dominican Republic and maybe stay out there and try to trade aggressively and get it back again. Is this ethical? People can just do this. They just file bankruptcy and nothing.
Okay, so one thing
This is
I have
crazy.
learned in all
Uh,
these years that I've been
This is
working in
insane.
this space, people are very unethical. The majority. With money, with money, they are very
Yeah.
unethical. If they have like some kind of money,
Ah.
such some big numbers, they become very, very unethical. And honestly, this, this might
Mm.
feels like a story, but a lot of people have been doing this. So it's not a surprise, honestly.
Yes. Yeah, it's tough. It's just like crazy that person is basically doing it and basically putting a fuck you to whoever their debtors are.
Yep, 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 yep.
And like there are no consequences, at least not legal consequences to doing shit like this, you know. Yeah, the very last one before we go is this person that says, and I quote, "I stayed in a relationship with someone who sexually assaulted me because they said they'll get my friend an internship in a leading crypto exchange." Seriously?
Damn.
It is actually a little maddening that like this is even possible. Do people do such, like, I mean, I'm very sure they're like sex for favors type things, but like have you seen so much of such activity, especially in your jurisdiction? I think that's Dubai. Because lots of people talk about shit like that happening in Dubai a lot. I know it happens elsewhere.
So
But yeah, I
I'm
know
being
that
very
Dubai
honest.
is a wild ass place.
I'm being very honest. It's happening in all the flashy spaces. Wherever they do have clubs, it's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm not going to deny it, but
yeah.
it's a big thing in all the flashy locations where do they have clubs, uh, like skyscrapers, like so that's it. It's happening.
Yeah, of course it is happening. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you so much. This has been really a significantly longer episode. But yeah, I really appreciate you being here and, of course, reacting to each and every one of these, playing these games, and and giving some advice to either some real people or some imaginary people.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully, not imaginary people.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Right before you go, are there any last words, perhaps how people can get in contact with you, and maybe something you would love to share? I like you to tell people.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a great session, and the way you structure it,
Mhm.
it's beautiful. Like some serious segments and some where we have fun and everything.
Thank you.
You are doing it in a great way. So my advice, like
Thank
what I have learned, and this is my advice to people. Please do not just create and invest in cryptos. You should be. working in the space, you should be putting your blood and
Mm,
sweat in the space because there are billion-dollar opportunities for you. You can help some other brands to grow to new heights. You can start creating your own products. You can start creating your own setups because this space is going to turn into
mm,
multi-trillion dollar space, tens of trillion dollar space in the coming years. So do not have a look at the charts all day. This is going to drain you mentally, but put your efforts into somewhere that's going to impact overall humanity. That's going to impact processes, different industries, and everything. That's
yeah,
how you are going to create a legacy for yourself. You are going to create a legacy for yourself, and your children's and your coming generations are going to happy to say that they are your children's, you know. So please do not just waste your times on charts. If you are investing, great, but also put your efforts into the industry because there is some true potential, high potential. This is a high potential space, and you should be getting the most juice out of it. So yeah, thank you so much for the invitation, Elvis. I really appreciate it.
of course, of course, of course. Thank you for accepting. We have come to the end of this episode, but yeah, if you want to find Adil, you can always find him on LinkedIn. His name is spelled Adil space ASHFAQ. Just in case you are unable to find him, you can find him on LinkedIn where he typically shares lots of his opinions, good memes, and a lot of commentary on the space and, of course, what he's doing at Circular Protocol and DeSci. Quite a lot to learn on there. Thank you so much. Until we meet on the very next episode. Bye bye, everyone. Bye.